So I spent the morning doing research, and it seems there is an Irish pub not far from here. An hour's walk, and we might be tasting a beer, a real beer. Yay! So let's see what happens, eh?
Woo! We thought we'd check out the local Mexican supermarché.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's enormous. Oh, look at the blow-up things. I love blow-up things.
It's, I know I keep saying it, but it's so different to where we just spent the last 3 months. In Tapachula and Puerto Madero. It's like, how can two places be so different that are so close together? Because it's like, it's the next town really, the next big town. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's 6 burner. Imagine having that at home.
Beautiful.
They're all 6 burners. Is that standard in Mexico? 6 burners. Look, every single one is 6 burners.
We need a new oven. Oh, look at the size of this one. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Look how tiny it is. There's skeletons everywhere. We've got fast food in the middle of the supermarket. Oh, look at the size of that. Is that parmesan?
Yeah.
Oh, look what we found. Look at the size of that.
Cuban cigars in a dehumidifier in the supermarket. Sorry, humidifier in the supermarket. That's pretty cool.
Spirits are pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Compared to Australia anyway. Wouldn't you just buy this for the bottle? There's one, and there's another one, another one.
That's nice.
Oh, they're gorgeous. Is that quite a lot of money? 1157. It's about $80, isn't it?
$80.
Yeah. Yeah, but make a nice vase, wouldn't it? What have you found? A London Porter. How excited are you?
Pretty excited. Sam Adams, one of my favourites in Boston. A stout. German. Oh. We're never going to leave this joint.
Like everybody else. I've never seen lemon chips, actually. I think they're limes. Chilies and chicken. Just like that.
Pork crackling on steroids.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And then next to the pork crackling, garlic. And prawns. And fish. This is an incredible shop. Frozen and fresh next to each other. That's interesting.
Where there?
Granel. Looks like flowers.
Dunno.
Alright, we'll have to look that one up.
When in Mexico, you do expect to see the odd chili here and there.
Huh. Wow. So pretty. How beautiful is this? That's just amazing.
How beautiful is this? The colours.
Yeah, it's lovely. So many things here. The chilies.
There's only one thing better than Aussie Smooth, and that's Aussie Moist.
Heading back to the bar, opposite the boat now. And try and get some internet. This is the little, I don't know what you call it, inlet, I suppose.
4.7 metres.
Oh, perfect.
Come in here.
Yeah, fantastic.
Gracias.
It's looking quite complex in there.
Yeah, well, I'm just doing my favourite thing, taking out the autopilot once again.
Because you're going to fix the clutch because it's slipping?
The clutch is, I adjusted the clutch, but I didn't put enough preload on it.
Okay.
So it's still slipping a tad, so it's not an easy job to adjust this clutch. You've got to pull the whole thing apart. But anyway, that's life. The new autopilot worked for a few minutes and then it stopped. The clutch started slipping. Remember, we adjusted the clutch with the red nail polish and stuff, so don't know what's happened. So I'm going to take it apart here. Here's the clutch assembly. Oh, there we go. You shouldn't be able to turn it like that. It's got no preload on it. And there's the red nail. The red nail polish has slipped. So now they've got Loctite. I'm going to Loctite it. So we'll readjust that so we don't get this slip. We need some slip because if for example the wheel binds up or the wheel's locked and someone turns the autopilot on, you need it to be able to slip. Or if it hits the end stops, it needs to be able to stop driving. So that's what this clutch is for. But you've got to have more than that because that won't drive the boat. So we'll readjust, repair, refix, replace, put it back in, re-grease it, and we should have a working pilot again. Alright, good. This is how tight it is now. So I can turn it with I can do it with the hands, but it tears my skin. There we go. Wow. So that's a bit tighter. So we'll put it in, put the whole thing back together again, and see if it works. Bit of grease, Bob's your auntie. Let's see if it's going to work. Okay, we're on standby. Go to auto, or can see the radar reference unit sending signal back that the helm's turning. I'll have a look at the helm now. Look at that, all by itself. And both directions. That is a sweet sound.
You've got the engine open again, darling?
Yeah. Time to do some more housekeepings.
Oh, housekeepings this time?
Well, all this section here is it's just a horrible mess. And look, there's bits of wire hanging out, and there's wires coiled up, and there's wires going inside, there's wires going outside, and down here is just a dog's breakfast. Yeah, I don't like it.
So what are you going to do about it?
Well, I've got to replace this because this broke. Yeah. That's our engine stop.
Okay.
So I put in a temporary engine stop here.
So that's your temporary engine stop?
Yeah, because this one broke. So I'm going to modify this by cutting out the broken section and rebuilding a shorter one. And instead of it looping around the engine coming from the front, it's going to come in sort of over the top and down. So then we've still got enough length in it. So yeah, a couple of projects for the next day or two, and I want to get the engine hour meter working. That rusty lump of stuff in the corner. Just housekeepings. So when I'm working on something that's like not normal, the wires are all different colours and someone else has done it, I take photos as I go so that I know where everything came from. So when we tidy this up, just we know where everything goes back. That's what I'm talking about getting rid of. We had this little white wire coming into there, which came into there, which came into two earth wires, which went to another earth wire, which had this little joiner in it, to another joiner, which went to another point, and they all ended up back here. Yeah, it just is incredible. It's worth framing. There's lots of these. Right. Now go to our old matter.
Is that, what is that? That's just loose in there, was it?
That was just stuck in a hole.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. Join. Black, brown. Yeah, you got your stator, field, pos, neg, ignition. So they're all relevant. So they'll go back in a nice loom straight down to the alternator. Then I'll take half that block's not being used, so I'll utilise that for all the junctions. Get rid of all this superfluous wiring that's seemingly not connected to anything, and we'll be all tickety-boo, hunky-dory. So instead of having all these joins and all this crap running everywhere, I'm going to take out all the stuff that's not being used, and there is an old block in there, but it's pretty grungy, so I'm putting in a new terminal block. I bought a heap of these with me from when we were in Australia. So I'll put a new terminal block in here, and I'll take up the engine wires, the instrument panel wires, and these wires, which only I'd say 2 or 3 are being used, to the new block, and then run them off around to all the various places where they go, which will be a lot tidier and a lot more reliable, which is what you want when you're out here. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
So why did you stagger the wires?
Otherwise you end up with, well, this one needs to be longer than this one because it comes from the bottom.
Yeah.
So this just makes it a bit neater.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So once we've tied that in there with some ties, and the rest of the other 3 wires are there's one here, and just tidies it all up.
Housekeepings.
That's what it is, housekeepings.
Looking good.
It is. There's so many more wires to get rid of.
Are you moving the holder?
Well, first of all I'm going to see if the hour meter works. Because it was mounted in a spot well, you couldn't even read it. So I don't know if it actually works. But our meters are handy things on boats because unlike cars, which have speedos and odometers and tell you how far you've been so you know when to do a service interval, boats aren't always going anywhere when the engines are running. They're sometimes just sitting still charging batteries, you're sometimes motor sailing, you're sometimes motoring, so you need to know how many hours your engine's done so you know when to do an oil change and a belt change and a service and tappets and all those sorts of things. And that's where this little bit of kit comes in very handy. Right, let's put on some positive and negative.
It's getting mighty messy in here. We've been getting stuff out of the bottom of cupboards. Oh, they're not called cupboards, are they, on a boat?
Are they?
I thought they were called lockers.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So, Magnus is just fitting some more bits to the new, is it called a junction box?
Not terminal strip.
Terminal strip. Tidying it all up. Look at that. It's definitely tidier than it was before.
Oh yeah. We're taking out 15 different joins. These go to the dash and the power board, and these go to the workings.
Oh, I see.
And then I'll replace all these as well.
I tidied up these and put this fancy dancy cable cover, what's that called?
No, ducting.
Ducting on.
Split tube it's called.
Split tube, so that's all nice and neat now. And got rid of loads of things like this to stuff bits and pieces. Whoa. Really?
All this, apart from these two wires, is superfluous. We're just using the red and the white red stripe. But they've been laying in the bilge, so they're covered in oil and grunge. So they will come out, all those wires. And these two get wired in properly.
Two little ones.
Yeah. None of that's used.
So they're the two you want.
Yeah.
And the other ones you don't want.
All these, which is all these wires here, all the way down, all come out. It's coming out.
All that's coming out.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's a lot of... Wow. Good housekeepings today, babe.
Yeah. So this whole loom here is coming out all the way back to the other end where it does nothing. And the wires that are gone.
Big few kilos.
Well, just crap laying around.
The terminal strip is coming out.
Yeah, it's pretty grungy. Been in there for 40 years.
What will you do? Add another one to the top of the other one?
Yeah. If you've been watching for a while, you would have seen this once before. We were leaving Tobago Island, just outside of Panama City, and the raw water pump started leaking. And while we were rocking and rolling, Wendy and I replaced it. You might remember that Wendy did put these screws back in and used some anti-seize because the screws were really hard to get out before. And since she did use anti-seize, they came out so easily. The reason we took it out is it was leaking. You can see here where the salt water's been running down, where it's been leaking from the seal. So I've got to replace that seal. But luckily, we did take it apart because look at the state of the impeller. Now that impeller has taken us from Tobago Island, or Isla Tobago, just out of Panama City, to here in Huatuco, Mexico. And look at the state of it. That's pretty surprising, really. So luckily this started weeping, so I pulled it out. I thought I'll replace the impeller while I've got it out, And look, so yeah, blind maintenance. Sometimes you can't see the problems, and sometimes luck just helps you. So there we go, that's a project for Saturday today, so we're going to get onto that one on Monday once we can get some seals and bearings in town, hopefully. I'm just taking Peanut into the beach to paint the backing plate for the water pump, because it's looking a bit grungy. I didn't want to do any spray painting on the boat, so I thought I'd just go in the beautiful little beach here and do it in there. So that's the bit I'm going to paint. It's looking a bit grungy, and that's what I'm using. Just a bit of grey primer, because it sticks like proverbial. And there we go, a few minutes later, it's all painted. So wait for that to dry, stick it back in, and we'll have water in the motor again.